Hello everyone, and welcome to our pharmaceutical logistics presentation about the Internet of Things for the year 2018. Our intention is to make this presentation short and sharp so you get a download from us as to what's happening in cold chain and pharmaceutical logistics and the Internet of Things. So in today's presentation, we're going to take a quick spin through market needs, identify where we are in relation to some of the issues associated with the pharmaceutical supply chain, and then give you some examples of what's happening with IoT in the UK and in other parts of the world today, and then likewise identify where things are going in terms of the adoption of IoT going forwards from 2018 into the future. So, 20 seconds about us. Hanhaa is an Internet of Things innovator, and our platform connects users to information about shipments, whether it's their location or their security or their status, all around the world. ParceLive is basically a real-time tracking service, and it has been deployed internationally already by leading corporations and other logistics vendors, such as 3PL providers. In a recent survey by Supply Chain Media of 67 pharmaceutical supply chain executives, one of the key facts that came out of that was that supply chain visibility was considered to be a big challenge for the sector. And likewise, loss of control, deterioration of services were also major concerns. So of course, Internet of Things is in a position where it can start to address some of these issues. Additionally, as you can see on this slide, the pharmaceutical sector, of course, is expanding into new territories, and of course markets such as China and Southeast Asia, as well as Europe, Middle East and Africa and other parts of South America and Europe, are causing not necessarily challenges, but concerns for organizations about how to manage cross-border activity, where perhaps the logistics infrastructure isn't as mature as it would be in some more established markets. So, of course, when you actually look at the supply chain within the pharmaceutical sector, from manufacturing through to patient, of course, there are quite a few layers within the sector, from raw material suppliers, obviously, through to manufacturing and then distribution. And then, of course, when you look at the layers of logistics that sit between each of those areas within the supply chain, of course, these are going to be different categories of suppliers and shipments from different vendors. And obviously, they are going to span different territories as well. So, of course, you've got logistics coming through from raw materials to manufacturer, manufacturer to packer, and then likewise, as you can see, different layers between the distribution of the system all the way through to the actual patient. And then, of course, in relation to the commercial element, once you go from packing through to distribution, secondary distribution, and then likewise either retail or dispensary, you can see that there are likewise different points of sale, from primary sale through to tertiary sales within the system. So comparing the different aspects of logistics as well as erosion of margins and so forth as you go closer to patients, there are some significant issues with regards to how supply chain is managed and the contribution that Internet of Things can make to that. So let's take a quick look at how IoT can play into pharmaceutical logistics. Between the raw materials manufacturer and the supplier, of course, there's inventory management and likewise just-in-time supply chain management. And then, of course, from manufacturer through to onshore distribution would be a position where, of course, you have in-country activity, and then likewise, perhaps that distribution would be staying within country and going specifically to other parts of the supply chain within country. So in relation to how IoT plays into the pharmaceutical sector, of course, as you can see here with the red lines, there is everything from raw materials manufacturer to through manufacturing into distribution, where of course you have your in-country activities. And then of course when you're looking to export into offshore markets, you then need to keep control as to how your transition of your activity is going into new territories, how it might be going across border, and of course all of the associated logistical challenges with tracking your activities in your various countries of distribution. So, of course, all the way through to the patient, there are lots of ways in which tracking and insight in the supply chain can support the pharmaceutical sector. So we promised that we'd go through a case study. So let's first of all go through a case study in a domestic shipment. First of all, I'll tell you a little bit more about the technology. As you can see, this is the ParceLive tracker, which we used in this case study that we're going to share with you. So the tracker, as you can see at the bottom there, it's a platform that has an embedded SIM, a large long life battery. It has 6 smart sensors on board, which I'll go through in a moment. And it has an ink display, an e-ink display, which means that we can set the return address for the tracker once it's being used. So it has a very simple once only press button there for the end users. And it's got on board GPS and a very smart antenna, which means that we can also track inventory and parcels indoors as well as externally. So in addition to the GPS, which I just mentioned, the ParceLive tracker also tracks temperature, impact, tilt, humidity, and it has a light sensor on board, which means that when a carton or a box has been opened, we identify that that's happened at that point in time as well. So the parcel tracker goes into the parcel or is attached to the side of a pallet or a parcel, and once it's set to live with the single button press, we're then in a position where the ParceLive platform delivers a lot of very important information to logistics managers, purchasing customers, as well as logistics providers, such as how is the network performing, has the parcel arrived yet, are there issues with my network that need to be optimized so you can track your improvements going forwards, and then likewise, if there's a dispute, you have a full audit trail of activity which you can then track back using the platform as well, which I'll go through in a moment. So how does ParceLive work? Well, first of all, the fresh tracker is placed inside the parcel or on the side of the pallet or whatever it may be. And then once that's set to live on the activity, it's then scanned with a barcode that's on the e-ink reader to back into any of the logistics tracking systems that are being used at the time. And then once the activity is then tracked by the tracker, of course all the sensors are live. That includes in-flight as well as road and rail-based transport. And once it arrives at the destination, the tracker button is pressed again, which provides the return address, which means that it can then go back into the regular post and be delivered back to us for application into a new deployment. So effectively what you're doing with ParceLive is you are renting the data that is provided by our platform, but likewise the tracker always belongs to us, which makes life a lot easier from an organizational perspective in terms of purchasing and tracking. So how does this apply to pharmaceutical logistics? Well, obviously, as you can see here, it answers questions like, where is my shipment? Is my shipment being managed correctly? For example, we've experienced in the past where ice is packed within distribution packages, and likewise, we've discovered that the actual logistics provider was storing things overnight rather than shipping them immediately. Has it been tampered with? Of course, which when you're looking at cross-border issues and associated issues with less regulated states, we can identify if things have been opened. And then likewise, if for example, your parcel has been geo-fenced, i.e. you're expecting it to go through a specific supply route, and your parcel or your delivery goes outside of that route, the ParceLive system will notify you of that immediately. And then likewise, if there are any of the issues that are associated with the conditional events that you wish, so for example, it might be temperature or humidity, the parameters that are set by you within the tracker, if there are issues where the parameters aren't met, they will get an immediate alert from the system, which is happening in real time. So let's take a quick look at the case study that we talked about before. So ParceLive is now deployed in over 40 countries across 4 continents. And what we'd like to do is go through a real-time deployment for a pharmaceutical shipment. So Holifresh is one of our logistics partners that uses our technology to support their customers. And what they're looking for was a scalable cross-border temperature tracking solution for their pharmaceutical clients. And Holifresh basically wanted to have visibility across all of their supply chain and likewise proof of delivery at point of destination. So what we'll do is we'll go through how Holifresh have applied this to their deployment of their activities, and we'll take you through a live case study. So this is the world view where I can see what's going on across the whole network. As you can see, there are 92 items tracking, 385 assigned to the account, and 107 are making their way back to our fulfillment center. Now let's interrogate the shipments individually to see what's happening with them. So let's switch to an individual shipment in North America. From this dashboard I can see all of the data associated with the shipment, such as DPS position, temperature, humidity and so forth. The most recent state for temperature and humidity. So from here I can go back in the parcel's timeline to see its condition at any historic point. So as you can see, it's possible to find shipment data for any specific point that you are interested in. So each marker here is a unique data point. Any red marker is an alert, such as a drop, and the green is the most recent. By clicking on any of them, I can see a different view of the data. Okay, so let's take a look at a cross-border shipment. As you'll see, the information shows that I can follow my parcel across multiple countries with the same functionality as I've just shown you. And again, the drill down information is available to me. So, let's take a look via Google Earth to see how we can investigate an event. I'll zoom in to see what's available around a tilt event. So using this view, I can see the exact conditions of the road layout and the facilities. And I can see that the driver entered into this McDonald's restaurant. And then, by dropping myself into the map, I can use the street view from Google to pinpoint the exact location at which the driver came out of the exit a bit fast and tilted the goods. Now, by clicking on the marker, I can identify that it was a tilt event. So this was just one journey, but as you can imagine, having all of this data available to you from IoT devices across your network is providing very powerful insight. Some of the new discoveries that we've had from Pharma Logistics have been quite interesting. So you can see here that we've had ice packs that were stored overnight, as I mentioned earlier, where they shouldn't have been. We've had identification of border stoppage in Mexico, which is probably not surprising, but likewise it's very important when you're looking at very important deliveries. And we've also discovered that we've been comparing the barcode systems of traditional shipment companies, that actually the barcode scanning systems are an actual reflection of the true position of a package. So the insurance company that we've been speaking to have been very interested in how they can actually use IoT to reduce the premiums for their customers. And then, of course, there's optimization of the network. For example, when you have a driver with a reduced truckload and spare capacity, that's the opportunity to be able to bring additional cargo into deliveries, but likewise also identify when additional shipments have been put on board that shouldn't be. We'd like everybody to experience IoT, so let's go through how we can help you with that. As you can see here, we work with 3PL and logistics organizations, and what we would plan to do if you're a pharmaceutical organization and in supply chain, we'd look to work with your existing incumbent providers to help you deploy IoT, and likewise if they felt that that wasn't for them, we could provide you with some of our existing partners who can help you with their experience with our technology and obviously their sector experience within pharmaceutical. Obviously, as you're deploying a new technology, there's a stage of experimentation, and as you can see here, our plan would be that we would get you at least two trackers into your system so you can see the data and the information that's provided through Internet of Things-based ParceLive technology. Once you've got to the stage where you decide that you want to go ahead, then there's stage 2, which is onboarding all of your systems and your supply chain reporting and inventory management so that we back into your existing strategies. And then, of course, once we're up and running, then is a case of ongoing expansion of the technology and improvement of the system as you would like to see it. So account management is a very important part of that. So to get you started, we'd like to get you 2 trackers so you can deploy ParceLive within your existing supply chain to understand how things are going. So we would work with your 3PL or your logistics partners or your internal organization to assist you with onboarding the experiment. And then likewise, we provide you with a dedicated login to our portal so you can see what's happening. And then we would provide you with a detailed, comprehensive post-trial report to help you with understanding whether ParceLive is right for your organization or not. So if you're interested, I'd be very grateful if you could speak to Hanhaa, our colleague in marketing, and she will set you up with a free trial so that you can get things moving in the right direction. So thanks again for your time and attention. And obviously, if you have any questions or any queries, please contact us via our website, which is at hanhaa.com. Thanks very much for joining us today, and we look forward to hearing from you. Cheers.